Welcome to Cheating Tales Lab. We're grateful you've chosen to join us today. Tell us, which part of the world are you watching from? Big city? Small town? Country? We'd love to know. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Smoke and Mirrors. Alexander Reed had always been a patient man. Patience had built his fortune from nothing. Patience had been his companion as he watched his wife of 15 years, Diana, slowly transform from the woman he married into someone he barely recognized. "I'll be late tonight, Alex," Diana called out, applying her lipstick in front of the bathroom mirror. "Client dinner with Rodney again. Don't wait up." Alex nodded, his face a carefully cultivated mask. It was the third client dinner this week. Rodney Parker, her division head, must have an insatiable appetite for fine dining and Diana's company. "I made reservations for our anniversary next week," Alex mentioned, watching her reaction in the mirror. 7 o'clock at Lumiere. Diana paused, then continued applying her makeup. "Oh, I forgot to tell you. I have that conference in Chicago next weekend. I thought I mentioned it." "You didn't," Alex replied evenly. "No problem. I'll cancel." Their penthouse apartment overlooked the city skyline, a view most would kill for. Alex had bought it 5 years ago when Callister Technologies acquired his startup for a sum that would ensure he never had to work again. But Diana didn't know the full details. No one did, except Lawrence Donovan, CEO of Callister. The acquisition had a unique structure, making Alex the largest single shareholder of Callister while allowing him to step back from public corporate life. "I'll see you later," Diana said, grabbing her purse and giving him a perfunctory kiss on the cheek. She smelled of expensive perfume and ambition. After she left, Alex walked to his private office and unlocked a hidden panel in the bookshelf, revealing his secure computer system. He opened an encrypted file containing surveillance photos of Diana and Rodney entering a hotel together, timestamped from last Tuesday. Another folder contained bank statements showing Diana's secret account, where she'd been siphoning money from their joint accounts over the past year. He closed the files and picked up his phone. "Perry, it's Alex. I need you to expand the surveillance operation, and I want everything on Rodney Parker. Everything." Perry Winston had been Alex's head of security during his startup days. Now he operated a private intelligence firm that catered to the ultra-wealthy, and Alex was his most important client. "Already on it, boss. You should know, Diana accessed your old email account yesterday, the one you use for personal correspondence." Alex's mouth tightened. "Interesting timing. Keep me posted." He hung up and stared out at the city below. Diana thought she had married a moderately successful tech entrepreneur who'd gotten lucky with an acquisition and now did occasional consulting. She had no idea of his wealth or influence. Alex had kept his true status hidden for years, trusting only a select few with the truth. This carefully constructed facade was about to serve a purpose Diana never anticipated. Alex opened another encrypted file. Operation Glass House. The plan was already in motion. Chapter 2. The Climb. "You can't expect me to turn down this opportunity, Alex," Diana said, pacing their living room. "This is what I've been working toward for years." Alex sat calmly on the sofa, watching his wife gesture emphatically. "I never said you should turn it down. I simply asked if Rodney would be your direct supervisor in the new position." Diana's hesitation was brief but noticeable. "Yes, initially. But the VP role opens up next year when Gavin retires." Alex nodded, his face betraying nothing. "Then you should accept. We can manage the longer hours." Relief washed over Diana's face. She hadn't expected him to agree so easily. "You don't mind?" "Why would I mind my wife's success?" Alex replied with a small smile. The truth was that Diana's promotion to senior marketing director at Callister Technologies fit perfectly into his plans. Lawrence Donovan had called him that morning with the news. "Your wife's being promoted," Lawrence had said. "Apparently, Rodney Parker is quite the champion of her work. The board doesn't know about your connection to her, of course." "Keep it that way," Alex had replied. "How's the acquisition of Medicore coming along?" "Final stages. We'll need your signature soon. Stock will jump 20% once it's announced. I'll be ready when needed." After Diana went to bed that night, Alex made a call to Perry. Diana accepted the promotion. "Activate Phase 2. Are you sure about this, Alex?" "Once we start, I'm sure." She made her choice a long time ago. Alex pulled up the surveillance file on his tablet. Images showed Diana and Rodney celebrating her promotion in his apartment, in ways that had nothing to do with professional achievement. Their affair had been going on for nearly a year. But it wasn't just the affair that had set Alex on this path. He switched to another file showing text messages between Diana and Rodney. How much longer do we need to wait? Until after the promotion is secure. Then we deal with Alex. He has no idea about anything. Still thinks I love him. After the divorce, I'll get half of everything. Which isn't much compared to what we'll have once I take over from Gavin. Alex closed the file. Diana had no idea that dealing with Alex meant dealing with Callister's majority shareholder. No idea that the not much she hoped to get in a divorce was actually a fortune. No idea that Alex had known about her betrayal from the beginning. Her ignorance was his advantage. The next day, he watched Diana select an expensive dress for her promotion party, heard her on the phone with the caterers planning every detail. She was creating the perfect stage for her public triumph. Alex would let her have her moment before the curtain fell. We should invite Lawrence Donovan, Alex suggested casually over dinner. I did some consulting for him years ago. Might be good to reconnect. Diana looked surprised. You know Lawrence Donovan? Why haven't you ever mentioned that? Alex shrugged. It was minor work. But connections are connections. Diana nodded eagerly. Yes, absolutely invite him. Having the CEO attend would be quite a coup. Alex smiled. I'll reach out to his office tomorrow. Chapter 3. The Revelation. The night of Diana's promotion party arrived, transforming their penthouse into a showcase of her success. Executives from Callister mingled with Diana's friends, all celebrating her ascent to senior marketing director. Alex moved through the crowd with practiced ease, playing the role of supportive husband perfectly. Alex, honey, Diana called, waving him over to a group that included Rodney Parker and several board members. Could you grab some more champagne for us? Of course, he replied pleasantly, noting the subtle exchange of glances between Diana and Rodney. As he returned with the drinks, he overheard Diana speaking to her new supervisor, Harold Blackwood. My husband? Oh, he's just support staff, she told him, laughing. Her colleagues snickered as Alex stood there holding the tray of drinks. He maintained his smile, playing the dutiful husband. Diana had been diminishing his career accomplishments for months now, painting him as increasingly irrelevant as her star rose. It was all part of her narrative to justify what would come next. Alex checked his watch. Lawrence Donovan would arrive soon. Everything was timed perfectly. The CEO's entrance caused a stir, executives straightening their postures as Lawrence made his way through the crowd. Diana rushed to greet him, clearly surprised and delighted that the CEO had actually attended her party. Mr. Donovan, what an honor to have you here, she gushed. Wouldn't miss it, Lawrence replied warmly. Your work on the Medicore acquisition analysis was exemplary. Diana beamed, basking in the praise. Thank you, sir. That means so much coming from you. Lawrence glanced around the room. Where's your husband? I'd like to say hello. Oh, he's around somewhere, Diana said dismissively. Probably refreshing drinks or something. Lawrence nodded, then moved through the crowd. His eyes met Alex's across the room, a subtle nod passing between them. Alex positioned himself near the bar, waiting. Minutes later, Lawrence approached him, speaking loudly enough for those nearby to hear. John, so this is where you've been. I need your signature on this acquisition. You're the majority shareholder, after all. The room fell silent. Diana's smile vaporized as she stared at her husband. Every eye in the room turned toward them. Alex, actually, he corrected mildly, taking the document folder. And yes, I've been reviewing the final terms. I think the board will be pleased with the numbers. Lawrence clapped him on the shoulder. They always are. Your instincts on Medicore were spot on. Expected stock jump is now 25%. Diana pushed through the suddenly silent crowd, her face a mask of confusion. What's going on? Alex, what is he talking about? Alex smiled at his wife, the mask finally dropping. Just business, Diana. Lawrence and I were discussing the acquisition I've been overseeing. Overseeing? Majority shareholder? What is this? Her voice had a shrill edge now. Rodney appeared at her side, equally confused. There must be some mistake. Alex doesn't work for Callister. No, he doesn't work for us, Lawrence confirmed. The company works for him, in a manner of speaking. Alex owns 28% of Callister Technologies. He's our largest shareholder and has final say on all major acquisitions. The blood drained from Diana's face as the implications sank in. Her husband wasn't just support staff. He was the silent power behind the company she'd been climbing for years. Alex handed the signed documents back to Lawrence. The announcement can go out Monday morning. Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe my wife and I need to have a conversation. As Alex led a shell-shocked Diana toward their bedroom, away from the stunned party guests, he caught Rodney's panicked expression. The man was already on his phone, likely calling his broker. Alex had instructed Perry to monitor all trading activity from party attendees. By Monday, several careers would be overdue to insider trading violations. Rodney's would be the first to fall. The party dissolved quickly behind them, executives and board members struggling to process what they'd witnessed. Within the privacy of their bedroom, Diana turned to Alex, her composure crumbling. "How long?" she whispered. "How long have you been lying to me?" Alex sat on the edge of their bed, his calm demeanor intact. "I never lied, Diana. I simply didn't correct your assumptions. The question is, how long have you been lying to me?" He pulled out his phone and played a recording of her conversation with Rodney from the previous week, discussing their plans to deal with Alex after securing her promotion. Diana's face crumpled. "Alex, I can explain." "No need," he interrupted, his voice cold. "The party's over, Diana. In more ways than one." Chapter 4, Aftershocks. The Monday following Diana's promotion party, Callister Technologies announced the acquisition of Medicore Pharmaceuticals. The stock jumped 27% by closing bell. Simultaneously, the SEC announced an investigation into unusual trading activity related to Callister stock, focusing on several executives who had made significant purchases the previous weekend. Diana watched the news unfold from the guest bedroom, where she'd been sleeping since the party. She hadn't been to the office in 3 days, calling in sick while she tried to figure out her next move. Alex had barely spoken to her, moving through the penthouse like a ghost, spending most of his time in his now unlocked private office. Her phone buzzed with a text from Rodney. "We need to talk. SEC just took my devices." "What did Alex say to you?" She didn't respond. 3 other executives who had attended her party were now under investigation, all of whom had been present for Lawrence's revelation about Alex's position. When Diana finally emerged from the bedroom, she found Alex in the kitchen, calmly making coffee. "Are you behind the SEC investigation?" she asked. Alex poured himself a cup. "The SEC acts independently, but people who make investment decisions based on non-public information should expect consequences." "You did this on purpose," Diana accused. "You revealed your position publicly to trap them." "I revealed my position because it was relevant to the conversation Lawrence and I were having," Alex replied mildly. "What others did with that information is their responsibility." "What about us, Alex? What happens now?" Alex took a sip of his coffee. "That depends on what you want, Diana." "Divorce?" "I believe you and Rodney had that planned already." Diana paled. "You know about Rodney." "I know everything," Alex said, his voice finally hardening. "Every hotel meeting, every lie about working late, every dollar you've been moving to your secret account, every conversation about how to deal with Alex after your promotion." He set down his cup and looked directly at her. "What I don't know is why. We built a life together. Was it not enough?" "You weren't ambitious anymore," Diana whispered, tears forming. "After the acquisition, you seemed content to just exist. I wanted more. And now you have it," Alex said. "A promotion you can enjoy, a lover facing criminal charges, and a husband who knows exactly who you are." Diana wiped away tears. "I'll move out today." "No need," Alex replied. "I've already arranged for a new place. This penthouse is yours until our divorce is finalized." "You're being surprisingly reasonable," Diana said cautiously. Alex smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I'm always reasonable, Diana. It's one of my most dangerous qualities." Later that day, Alex met with his attorney, Sophia Mendez, in her downtown office. "Everything's in place," Sophia confirmed. "The divorce papers will be served tomorrow. The terms are generous. The penthouse, a cash settlement of $2 million, and a complete dissolution of marital ties." "And the addendum clause?" Alex asked. Sophia nodded. "Included as requested. If she contests anything or attempts to claim community property rights to your Callister holdings, the terms revert to the secondary agreement." "Which provides?" "Nothing. She walks away with personal items only. The judge who will hear the case owes you a favor, as you mentioned." Alex nodded. "And Rodney Parker's situation?" Sophia slid another folder across the desk. The SEC investigation is just the beginning. His financial records show significant debt from gambling. He's been skimming from the marketing budget for years, hiding it through fake vendor accounts. Diana's department, ironically. Make sure that information reaches the appropriate investigators, Alex instructed. And Perry's team has swept the penthouse completely. All surveillance removed except the security system. The tracking on her vehicle and devices has been disconnected, as requested. Alex stood, straightening his jacket. Good. She'll think it's over. It's not. Sophia asked. Not by a long shot, Alex replied. This is just scene 1. Chapter 5, Shifting Ground. 3 months after the revelation at Diana's party, the landscape had changed dramatically. Rodney Parker had been terminated from Callister following the SEC investigation and subsequent discovery of his embezzlement. 4 other executives had resigned. Diana had accepted Alex's divorce terms without contest, keeping the penthouse and the cash settlement. To outward appearances, the matter was settled. Diana had even started seeing someone new, Victor Lamont, a successful real estate developer she'd met at a charity gala. She'd landed on her feet, maintaining her position at Callister despite the scandal with Rodney. Lawrence Donovan had personally assured her that her job was secure. From his new residence, a modern house overlooking the bay, Alex watched these developments with calculated interest. The divorce had been finalized with surprising speed, thanks to Sophia's connections. Now it was time for the next phase. What do we have on Victor Lamont? Alex asked Perry during their weekly meeting. Perry handed him a thick file. Fascinating character. His real estate empire? Mostly smoke and mirrors. He uses investor funds from new projects to prop up failing older ones. Classic Ponzi scheme, but with buildings instead of securities. Does Diana know? Not yet, but our analysis suggests she will soon. He's been asking about her financial situation, probing for investment opportunities. Alex nodded, studying the photographs of Diana and Victor leaving her penthouse. And the Callister board? Growing concerned about your continued absence from strategic discussions. Lawrence has been deflecting, but questions are mounting about your long-term intentions with your shares. Perfect timing then. Alex closed the file. Implement Operation Glass House, Phase 3. It's time to shatter some illusions. The next day, Alex made his first appearance at Callister headquarters in years. His arrival caused a stir, executives and employees whispering as he made his way to the boardroom, where an emergency session had been called. Diana was leaving a meeting when she saw him walking down the hallway. She froze, color draining from her face. Alex nodded politely as he passed. No words were necessary. Inside the boardroom, Lawrence greeted him warmly before the assembled board members. Alex, thank you for joining us on such short notice. My pleasure, Alex replied, taking a seat at the head of the table. I understand there are concerns about the company's direction. For the next hour, Alex listened as board members expressed their worries about recent market challenges and competitor moves. When they finished, he opened his laptop. I've prepared some thoughts on our strategic position, he began, displaying a comprehensive analysis on the projection screen. By meeting's end, the board was energized by Alex's vision for Callister's future. He had deftly redirected the company's focus to areas where he knew they would dominate in coming years, while subtly undermining departments where Diana's influence was strongest. As the meeting concluded, Lawrence pulled him aside. Masterfully done. They're eating out of your hand again. Just reminding them who's in charge, Alex replied. How's Diana handling the new reorganization? Struggling. Her department's budget was cut by 30% last quarter. She's lost 3 key team members. But she's resilient. For now, Alex said. Did you deliver the message to Victor Lamont? Lawrence nodded. As instructed, mentioned casually that Diana's ex-husband was concerned about his investment strategies. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Good. And the other matter? The anonymous tip to the Financial Crimes Unit has been delivered. They'll start investigating his developments next week. Alex smiled. Perfect timing. Diana just invested her settlement with him last month. Lawrence raised an eyebrow. You knew she would? I counted on it, Alex confirmed. Diana has always been attracted to confidence and the appearance of power. Victor projects both, without possessing either. Her money is already gone. And what about her job here? Alex straightened his tie. By the time the board meets next month, Diana Reed will no longer be an employee of Callister Technologies. But not by my hand directly. She'll self-destruct once Victor falls. Chapter 6. The Vice Titans. Diana stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The email from Victor was brief. Investment opportunity collapsed. Need time to recover funds. Will call when I can. Her hands shook as she dialed his number again. Straight to voicemail, as it had been for 3 days. $1.5 million, 3/4 of her divorce settlement, was invested in Victor's newest development project. Money that was now apparently gone. A knock at her office door interrupted her panic. Lawrence Donovan stood there, his expression grim. Diana, do you have a moment? She quickly composed herself. Of course, Lawrence. Please, come in. He closed the door behind him. I wanted to give you a heads up. Victor Lamont is under investigation by the Financial Crimes Unit. It doesn't look good. Diana felt the room spin. What? Since when? It's been ongoing for weeks, apparently. They're saying it's a massive Ponzi scheme. Multiple developments, millions in investor funds misappropriated. That's impossible, Diana whispered, though she was already connecting the dots to Victor's mysterious email. Lawrence looked sympathetic. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I know you two had become close. Did Alex have anything to do with this? Diana asked sharply. Lawrence's expression remained neutral. Not that I'm aware of. These investigations take months to build. But speaking of concerns, he slid a folder across her desk. The quarterly performance reviews are in. Your department has missed targets for the second consecutive quarter. Diana opened the folder, scanning the grim numbers. We've been understaffed since the reorganization. I've requested additional headcount repeatedly. The board is concerned, Lawrence continued. They're meeting next week to discuss departmental leadership. Diana's blood ran cold. They're considering removing me? Let's call it a comprehensive evaluation, Lawrence replied diplomatically. I'll do what I can, but... He left the sentence unfinished, but his meaning was clear. Diana was in trouble on multiple fronts. After Lawrence left, Diana sat in silence, her mind racing. This couldn't be coincidence. First Rodney, now Victor, and her position at Callister hanging by a thread, all leading back to the night Alex revealed his true status. She pulled out her personal phone and called the one person who might understand. Rodney? It's Diana. We need to talk. They met at a small coffee shop far from Callister's offices. Rodney looked terrible, unshaven, weight lost, dark circles under his eyes. I was surprised to hear from you, he said, stirring his coffee endlessly. Thought you'd want to keep your distance after everything. I think Alex is systematically destroying my life, Diana said quietly. Just like he did yours. Rodney laughed bitterly. Figured that out, did you? Took you long enough. What do you mean? Diana, I didn't just get caught by the SEC. Someone sent them detailed records of every trade I've ever made, going back years. Someone exposed the vendor scheme I was running. A scheme known only to me and my personal accountant, who mysteriously received a job offer in Singapore a week before everything blew up. Diana felt sick. Alex, your ex-husband doesn't just get even, Rodney continued. He obliterates. He waits until you think you're safe, then pulls the rug out completely. But why wait? The divorce is final. He gave me the penthouse, the settlement. Why keep coming after me? Rodney leaned forward. Because guys like Alex don't care about money or property. They care about power and control. You took that from him when you cheated and planned to leave him. Now he's taking everything from you, piece by piece. What do I do? Run, Rodney said seriously. Take whatever money you have left and disappear. Change your name, start over somewhere else. That's what I'm doing next week. My brother in Canada has a job waiting for me. Off the books. Diana shook her head. I can't just run. I've worked too hard to get where I am. Where you are is exactly where Alex wants you, Rodney warned. Isolated. Vulnerable. About to lose everything. Later that evening, Diana returned to her penthouse to find an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a USB drive and a note in unfamiliar handwriting. Thought you should see this. A concerned friend. She plugged the drive into her laptop. It contained dozens of files, emails between Alex and Lawrence dating back years, surveillance photos of her and Rodney, financial records showing Victor's fraudulent business practices, and most disturbing of all, a document titled Operation Glasshouse, outlining a comprehensive plan for Diana's professional and personal destruction. As she read through the methodical strategy, Diana realized with horror that every major event of the past months had been orchestrated. Her relationship with Victor, the investment opportunity he'd presented, the SEC investigation into Rodney, even her department's declining performance, all carefully designed and implemented by Alex. The final page contained a note. Phase 4 activation, board meeting, Wednesday, 10 a.m. 3 days away. Diana's hands shook as she closed the laptop. She had 3 days to figure out how to stop a man who had spent years planning her downfall. A man who controlled the company she worked for, who had connections throughout the industry, who had resources she couldn't begin to comprehend. She picked up her phone to call Rodney again, then stopped. The anonymous USB delivery was too convenient, the timing too perfect. What if this was just another part of Alex's plan? What if he wanted her to panic, to run, to make a desperate move that would only accelerate her fall? Diana poured herself a glass of wine and walked to the window, looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Alex was watching, waiting for her next move. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of running. If he wanted a fight, she would give him one. She opened her laptop again and began composing an email to the entire Callister Board of Directors. Chapter 7, Countermoves. Diana's email to the Callister Board was direct and explosive. She revealed Alex's systematic campaign against her, attached select documents from the USB drive, and requested an immediate investigation into what she termed an abuse of shareholder power for personal vendettas. By morning, her inbox was flooded with responses. Most expressed shock and concern. 3 board members called for an emergency session ahead of Wednesday's planned meeting. Lawrence Donovan was conspicuously silent. As Diana prepared for work, her phone rang with an unknown number. "Hello," she answered cautiously. "Ms. Reed, this is Detective Marshall with the Financial Crimes Unit. We need to speak with you regarding your investments with Victor Lamont." Diana's stomach dropped. "I'm actually on my way to work. Could we schedule this for later today? I'm afraid this is urgent. We can meet you at your office if that's more convenient." "No," Diana said quickly. "No, I'll come to you. Give me the address." The detective provided an address downtown. Diana called a car service rather than taking her own vehicle, suddenly paranoid about being followed. At the Financial Crimes Unit office, Detective Marshall was accompanied by a stern-looking woman who introduced herself as Agent Kelsey from the SEC. "Ms. Reed, we have some concerning questions about your financial relationship with Victor Lamont," Detective Marshall began. "I'm a victim," Diana stated firmly. "I invested money that I now believe was misappropriated. I had no knowledge of any illegal activities." Agent Kelsey slid a document across the table. "Are you familiar with this transfer authorization?" Diana examined the paper. It showed a wire transfer from her account to an offshore entity called Meridian Holdings. Her signature was at the bottom. "Yes, that's my investment with Victor's new development." "Meridian Holdings is a shell company, Ms. Reed," Agent Kelsey explained. "It exists solely to move money between restricted accounts. Your signature authorized not just this transfer, but subsequent movements of these funds through multiple jurisdictions." "That's not possible," Diana protested. "I only signed for the investment." Detective Marshall showed her another document. "This addendum was attached to your authorization. It gives Victor Lamont power of attorney over the transferred funds." "Again, that's your signature." Diana stared at the signature. It looked like hers, but she had no memory of signing this document. "This is forged," she insisted. "I never signed this." "Ms. Reed, we have video footage of you signing these documents at Westlake Bank on April 7th, Agent Kelsey stated flatly. "Mr. Lamont is cooperating with our investigation. He claims you were a knowing participant in this scheme." Diana felt the walls closing in. "That's a lie. Victor approached me about the investment. I had no idea about any illegal activity." The questioning continued for hours. By the time Diana left, she was officially under investigation for financial crimes related to Victor's schemes. They had not arrested her, but had made it clear she was not to leave town. When she finally reached her office, she found Lawrence Donovan waiting. "The board meeting has been moved up," he informed her. "They're assembling now to discuss your email and other matters." "What other matters?" Diana asked, though she already suspected. "The Financial Crimes Unit contacted us about their investigation into you. As a public company, we have compliance obligations." Diana's legs felt weak. "Lawrence, you know what's happening. Alex is behind all of this." Lawrence's expression was unreadable. "The board is waiting, Diana." The boardroom fell silent as Diana entered. 12 faces turned toward her, expressions ranging from sympathy to suspicion. At the head of the table sat Alex, calm and impeccably dressed. "Diana," he acknowledged with a slight nod. "Thank you for joining us." "What is this?" she demanded. "You orchestrated all of this to destroy me." A woman Diana recognized as Sophia Mendez, Alex's attorney, spoke up. "Ms. Reed, these are serious allegations you've made against the company's majority shareholder. The board has asked me to investigate your claims independently." "The USB drive," Diana began, "has been analyzed by our IT security team," Sophia interrupted. "The documents appear to be sophisticated forgeries. The metadata shows they were created last week on a device registered to Victor Lamont." Diana felt the blood drain from her face. "That's not possible." Alex spoke softly. "Diana, everyone here understands you're under enormous stress. The collapse of your investment with Mr. Lamont, the federal investigation, it's a lot to handle." "You did this," Diana insisted, her voice rising. "You set me up with Victor. You knew he was running a Ponzi scheme." One of the board members, an older man Diana knew as Robert Fletcher, cleared his throat. "Ms. Reed, we've reviewed the company communications you included in your email. Our security team confirms they were fabricated. The originals show no such conspiracy." "Of course they say that," Diana snapped. "Alex controls everything at Callister. He always has." Lawrence Donovan stood. "Diana, in light of the federal investigation and these concerning accusations, the board feels it would be best if you took a leave of absence while these matters are resolved." "You're suspending me?" "Based on lies and manipulated evidence. We're offering you paid leave during a difficult time," Lawrence corrected gently. "Your department will be temporarily overseen by Natalie Fisher until this situation is clarified." Natalie Fisher. The name struck Diana like a physical blow. Natalie had been Alex's executive assistant during his startup days. Another planted ally. Diana looked around the table, seeing nothing but closed faces. She'd lost before she even entered the room. "This isn't over," she said, looking directly at Alex. "The truth will come out." Alex's expression remained neutral. "I certainly hope so, Diana. For everyone's sake." As Diana stormed out of the boardroom, she pulled out her phone and called Rodney. When he answered, she said simply, "I'm ready to run." Chapter 8. Burning Bridges. "You can't just disappear, Diana," Rodney insisted as they sat in his sparse apartment. "That's exactly what he wants, for you to look guilty." Diana paced the small living room. "The Financial Crimes Unit is building a case against me. The board has suspended me. My reputation is ruined. What choice do I have?" "Fight back," Rodney said firmly. "Alex has one weakness. He's meticulous. Every move is calculated, documented." "How does that help me?" "Because no matter how careful he is, there's always evidence. We just need to find it." Diana stopped pacing. "We? Yesterday you told me to run to Canada." Rodney looked away. "I've been thinking. Running means he wins completely. I'm not ready to give him that satisfaction." For the next 3 days, Diana and Rodney worked to uncover evidence of Alex's machinations. They compiled financial records, communications, and witness statements that might expose the truth. It was dangerous work. Diana was under surveillance by the Financial Crimes Unit, and Rodney was violating the terms of his SEC settlement by involving himself in financial matters. On the 4th day, Rodney received a text from an unknown number, Storage Unit 227, Citywide Storage. Code 5591. "What you need is inside. A friend." "It's a trap," Diana said immediately. "Probably," Rodney agreed. "But what if it's not? What if someone inside Alex's operation is having second thoughts?" Against Diana's objections, Rodney went to investigate. He returned 3 hours later, his face ashen but triumphant. "You need to see this," he said, placing a laptop on the coffee table. "It's Alex's actual playbook. Everything documented in his own words." The laptop contained a detailed journal of Alex's operations against Diana and Rodney, complete with dates, methods, and accomplices. It explained how he had discovered their affair, how he had orchestrated the SEC investigation, how he had connected Diana with Victor Lamont knowing the man was under federal scrutiny. "This is it," Diana breathed. "This proves everything." "There's more," Rodney said grimly. "He has plans for what happens if we try to expose him." He pointed to a section detailing contingency measures, evidence planted in Diana's financial records showing deeper involvement in Victor's schemes, Manipulated emails suggesting Rodney and Diana had been embezzling from Callister for years. If we move against him with this, he releases that, Rodney explained. We'd both face serious federal charges. Diana closed the laptop, her mind racing. So we're back where we started. He's thought of everything. Not quite everything, Rodney replied, a dangerous glint in his eye. He doesn't know we have this. And there's something here we can use. He opened the laptop again, scrolling to a section about Alex's financial holdings. He's been moving Callister stock through a network of shell companies to hide his actions from the SEC. It's technically legal because of how it's structured, but if the details were exposed, the SEC would investigate, Diana finished. But how do we expose it without triggering his contingency plans? Rodney smiled grimly. We don't. We blackmail him. The plan was simple but risky. Use Alex's own methods against him. Diana would arrange a meeting, confront him with the evidence of his stock manipulations, and demand he clear her name and provide compensation for the damage he'd caused. Alex agreed to meet at his Bay house the following evening. As Diana drove there, Rodney waited at a nearby cafe, ready to send the evidence to the SEC if she didn't check in hourly. The modern glass structure overlooking the bay was illuminated against the twilight sky as Diana parked her car. Security cameras tracked her approach to the front door, which opened before she could knock. Diana, Alex greeted her calmly. Please, come in. The interior was minimalist and impersonal, more like a high-end hotel than a home. Alex led her to a sitting area with a view of the water. Drink, he offered. Let's skip the pleasantries, Diana replied coldly. I know what you've done, Alex. All of it. Alex took a seat opposite her. And what exactly have I done? Diana placed a flash drive on the coffee table between them. Everything's here. Your stock manipulations through shell companies. Your orchestration of the SEC investigation into Rodney. Your connection to Victor Lamont. Your campaign to destroy my career. Alex made no move to take the drive. Interesting. And you're here because? I want my life back, Diana stated. Clear my name with the Financial Crimes Unit. Reinstate me at Callister. Compensate me for the money I lost with Victor. Or this goes to the SEC, the FBI, and every financial journalist in the country. Alex regarded her for a long moment, then smiled slightly. You've certainly been busy. Did Rodney help you with this plan? It has his fingerprints all over it. Diana tensed. This isn't about Rodney. But it is, Alex countered. It's about loyalty and betrayal. About consequences. He stood and walked to the window. You know, I actually admire your resilience, Diana. Most people would have broken by now. Is that what you wanted? To break me? Alex turned back to her. What I wanted was for you to face the reality of your choices. The affair. The plans to deal with Alex after your promotion. The theft from our joint accounts. Actions have consequences. So do criminal conspiracies, Diana shot back. Which is what you've been running. Alex checked his watch. Rodney is waiting for your check-in call, I assume? Some sort of dead man switch arrangement. Diana's blood ran cold. How did you? Because it's what I would do, Alex interrupted. But there's something you should know before you make that call. He picked up a remote and turned on a large screen on the wall. It displayed a live video feed of Rodney sitting in a cafe, nervously checking his phone. What is this? Diana demanded. Watch, Alex said simply. On the screen, two men in suits approached Rodney's table. Even without audio, Diana could see them identifying themselves as federal agents. Rodney's face crumpled as they continued speaking. After a moment, he stood, was handcuffed, and led away. What did you do? Diana whispered. Nothing, Alex replied. The SEC discovered Rodney violated the terms of his settlement by involving himself in financial matters again. Specifically, by accessing sealed case files related to the Victor Lamont investigation. Files only someone inside the Financial Crimes Unit could provide. Diana shook her head in confusion. That's impossible. We never. The storage unit, Alex explained. The mysterious text. The convenient evidence. Who do you think sent Rodney there? Who do you think was watching when he entered a federal storage facility and removed evidence from an active investigation? Diana felt the floor shift beneath her. You knew we'd try to fight back. I counted on it, Alex confirmed. Just as I counted on you attempting to blackmail me rather than going directly to the authorities. It speaks to your character, Diana. Always looking for leverage, for personal gain. You're no better, Diana spat. This elaborate revenge. This isn't revenge, Alex interrupted. It's justice. You and Rodney conspired to defraud me, to take what wasn't yours, to discard me when I was no longer useful. Now you're experiencing the consequences of those choices. He gestured to the flash drive on the table. That contains nothing that would concern the SEC. My financial affairs are complex, but entirely legal. What it does contain is malware that would have given you access to my private accounts, had I plugged it in. Another federal crime to add to your growing list. Diana felt tears of frustration building. What do you want from me, Alex? To beg? To suffer more than I already have? What I want, Alex said quietly, is for you to understand that this was never a game you could win. Not because I'm vindictive, but because I've always been 10 steps ahead. That's how I built my fortune. That's how I protected it. And that's how I've ensured that you and Rodney will never threaten anyone again. A knock at the door interrupted them. Perry Winston entered, nodding to Alex. It's done. What's done? Diana asked, a new wave of panic rising. The Financial Crimes Unit has just executed a search warrant at your penthouse, Alex explained. They found evidence connecting you more deeply to Victor's schemes. Offshore accounts in your name. Documents with your actual signature, not forgeries. That's impossible, Diana protested. I never signed. But you did, Alex cut in. All those investment documents Victor had you sign? Multiple copies, different purposes. You never read the fine print, Diana. Always too eager for the next opportunity, the next advancement. Diana slumped back in her chair, the full weight of her situation crashing down on her. So that's it. I go to prison for something I didn't do. You did do it, Alex corrected. You invested with a known fraudster. You signed documents without reading them. You attempted to blackmail me today. Your crimes are real, Diana. Perhaps not exactly as they appear, but real nonetheless. He walked to the door, Perry following. I'll give you a few minutes to compose yourself. The FBI will be here shortly. They're very interested in your connection to the compromised evidence in the Lamont case. As they left, Diana sat in stunned silence, staring at the darkened screen that had shown Rodney's arrest. Everything had unraveled so completely, so perfectly. Alex had anticipated every move, countered every attempt to fight back. She was finished. They both were. Chapter 9, Scorched Earth. The federal courthouse was packed with reporters as Diana entered for her sentencing hearing. 8 months had passed since her arrest. The trial had been brief but comprehensive, the evidence against her overwhelming and meticulously documented. She had pled guilty to reduced charges of wire fraud and accessory to securities fraud, hoping for leniency. Her attorney had advised it was the best possible outcome given the mountain of evidence. The plea agreement prevented more serious charges related to the compromised evidence from the Lamont case. Rodney had received his sentence 2 weeks earlier, 12 years for violating his SEC settlement, tampering with federal evidence, and new fraud charges related to his activities with Diana. He hadn't looked at her once during their joint court appearances. As Diana took her seat at the defendant's table, she noticed Alex entering the courtroom, accompanied by Lawrence Donovan. They sat in the back row, observing silently. Judge Harrington entered, and the court rose. After the formalities, the judge reviewed Diana's plea agreement and the prosecution's sentencing recommendation. Ms. Reed, before I pronounce sentence, do you wish to make a statement to the court? Diana stood, hands trembling slightly. Yes, Your Honor. She turned slightly, making sure Alex could see her face. I accept responsibility for my actions. I made choices that hurt people I had promised to love and honor. I betrayed trust. I pursued ambition at the cost of integrity. These are my real crimes, regardless of the legal charges before the court. She paused, gathering herself. I don't ask for mercy or forgiveness. I only ask for the opportunity to eventually rebuild some kind of life after I've served my sentence. Judge Harrington nodded thoughtfully. Thank you, Ms. Reed. Having reviewed all factors in this case, I sentence you to 60 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. You are also ordered to pay restitution of $1.5 million to the victims of the Lamont investment scheme. The gavel fell, finalizing Diana's fate. As she was led away by court officers, she caught Alex's eye one last time. His expression revealed nothing. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded Alex and Lawrence as they exited. Mr. Reed, how do you feel about your ex-wife's sentencing? A reporter called out. I have no comment on the legal proceedings, Alex replied evenly. The justice system has done its work. Are you satisfied with the outcome? Another pressed. Alex paused, considering. Justice isn't about satisfaction. It's about consequences matching actions. In that regard, yes, I believe the outcome is appropriate. Lawrence guided him through the crowd toward a waiting car. Once inside, away from the cameras, Lawrence finally spoke. It's over, Alex. Completely. Diana will serve her time. Rodney will serve his. Victor Lamont got 20 years. Everyone who betrayed you has paid the price. Alex looked out the window as the courthouse receded from view. Yes. Do you feel any closure? Lawrence asked carefully. Closure implies there was a wound that needed healing, Alex replied. This wasn't about healing. It was about balance. About restoring order. The car pulled up to Callister headquarters, where the board was waiting to finalize the merger with Eastern Technologies that Alex had been orchestrating for months. Life and business continued, regardless of personal dramas. You never told me why you gave her the penthouse and settlement in the divorce, Lawrence said as they prepared to exit the car. You knew even then what you were planning. Alex straightened his tie. Because I wanted her to believe she had won something. People are most vulnerable when they think they're safe. A lesson many have learned from you, Lawrence observed. A lesson I had to learn myself. Once, Alex countered. Years ago, before I built my company, I trusted someone who betrayed me completely. I lost everything. I had to rebuild from nothing. Diana? Alex shook his head. Before Diana. A business partner who stole my first startup, my patents, everything. He taught me that trust without verification is just vulnerability waiting to be exploited. What happened to him? Lawrence asked. The same thing that happens to everyone who mistakes my patience for weakness, Alex replied as they entered the building. He discovered too late that I don't forgive. I don't forget. And I never, ever lose. In a federal holding facility 50 miles away, Diana Reed sat alone in a processing area, waiting to be transferred to the prison where she would spend the next 5 years. She had lost everything. Her career, her freedom, her reputation, her future. And somewhere in the city, Alex Reed was moving forward, his life undisturbed by the chaos he had methodically created and controlled. He had proven his point with devastating efficiency. Cross him, and you would lose everything. Not quickly in a burst of vengeful rage, but slowly, meticulously, until you understood completely that every moment of your downfall had been orchestrated by the man you had underestimated. Diana closed her eyes, finally understanding the truth that had eluded her throughout their marriage. Alex's most dangerous quality had never been his wealth or his intelligence or even his connections. It was his patience. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.